Right then, how are we all doing? So it's been a while. It's been a while because I've been busy. So the drone market has become very saturated for a lot of the stuff that I used to do with one client buying 80 drones. That's right, they bought 80 Mini 2s. So basically I'm no longer needed for that. So I had to specialise, and specialising in what is always the tricky bit. So I got together with someone, we formed a new business, and we've designed and we're building swarm light show drones. So we're an OEM. You're going to be able to come to us for a swarm of anywhere up to as many drones as you want. We've gone through the OSC process with the CA, so we can fly the swarm. Our swarm can be flown to 600 feet, and we can do public shows, but it's not our main intention. We're the people that sell the swarm, which is designed in the UK, built in the UK. So there we go. It's not a Chinese aircraft. It's not designed. It's not bought in. Literally designed and made here, which is pretty cool. So that's project number one that I've been working on. Number two is this one, and this is also very cool. So that's been worked on for the past, it's going to be 2 years now, to get to that stage. It's taken time, and it's just the way it goes. Things aren't done yesterday. And then I have a full-time job as well. Oh dear, it's crazy. Crazy times. Right, absolutely bonkers to be fair. Right, so today's video isn't about any of that stuff anyway. Today's video is about the top 10 drone insurance claims, and this is taken from Coverdrone. So Coverdrone's 2022 top 10 drone insurance claim list. So number 10, where we're going to start, number 10, theft in transit comes in at number 10. Theft in transit. So you'd think something would be secure in your car, wouldn't you? Don't leave it in view. It's a basic rule for anything like your camera gear, like absolutely everything else. A drone is expensive, people want them, people will smash your car windows to get to them and steal them. So theft in transit. So now keep your stuff out of sight. It's common sense. You know, don't leave it on the seat, don't leave it on display. Just make sure they're out of sight. Okay, think about security. Number 9 is the weather. So drones, they have sensitive electronics in them for the most part, and the problem is moisture gets in them. Once moisture gets in, you're on borrowed time. So rain, fog and snow are your enemy, and that's typically how moisture gets inside. And colder temperatures will affect your battery performance, also get icing on props. Think before you fly, check what your drone can handle, keep your batteries warm if flying in winter. Use the car heaters, footwell or the de-icing one on the interior. Use them to keep your batteries warm, and remember to reduce your flight times accordingly, so you will get battery drop off in cold weather. So weather is number 9. See DJI website if you fly a DJI aircraft for the drone you're flying for its wind and weather limits. Oh, funny enough, next is flyaways. Number 8, flyaway. Now this is interesting. So this has dropped down on their list. So, and it's down 4 places compared to 2021, which says the drones are getting better and more reliable maybe. However, from time to time, flyaways can result from several different factors, including flying beyond visual line of sight. Don't get me started, I don't want to go around. Compass interference, and or not setting your RTH, return to home location. One, always make sure your GPS is locked in before you take off. So, it's important, it's not hard, you just got to wait a minute for it to happen. If you can't fly, you wait for return to home to lock in. It's dead simple. Compass issues. Compass, let's talk about the compass for a minute. Compass issues. Compass issues can be a bit weird. I've had a few in my time. I always describe it to people as trying to guide a drunk friend home who can't walk in a straight line. You've been on the night, your friend has had lots and lots and lots of sauce, and then they can't walk in a straight line home. And that's your drone. It doesn't know where forwards is. If you're gentle with it, you can get it back and you can guide it in. But it can be tricky. So you just got to fly it. And flyaways, I also suspect in there high winds will be in there as well. But flyaways are getting rarer and rarer. And it's just typically down to compass or losing your, you've got GPS. GPS failure is covered a bit later, and yeah, GPS isn't needed to fly a drone. So number 7 is accidental loss. So it is down 2 places apparently this year. So when you're packing up your drone and you're putting everything away, make sure you are putting everything away. Do not litter. Basically, you arrived with a drone and the transmitter and your iPad. Make sure you take these things home with you. Don't leave them behind and don't litter. And that's accidental loss. Okay. Number 6. This one's an interesting one. Now, I would almost put this with the weather, maybe not. I think this one's a double-edged sword. Loss of power. Loss of power is a regular feature on the top 10 year on year, and this is up a further 2 places. Oh, for God's sake, it's moved up this. This shouldn't be moving anywhere. Loss of power should be very rare. So basically, ensure you've got enough battery for the flight. The problem is, people will fly at several different locations. So you'll fly at one location, you use 10 minutes of the battery. You'll then drive for half an hour or more to the next location and use the same battery. You shouldn't do that, because that battery now, its status is unknown. So as soon as you turn it off and shut down, now you might turn it back on and go, oh yes, it's got 56%. The reality is it's probably not going to give you that full 50%. You're not going to get the flight time you expect. Change your battery or use an in-car charger to charge your batteries. Make sure you've got a good power in your batteries. Now they say make sure your battery's fully charged. You'll never get to 100%, very rare. It'll always be like 95% or something. So just make sure your battery is as well charged as it can be. Do not fly with partially charged batteries. You know, if your battery is 30 or 40 or 50% and you've left it for a week, charge it up before you fly. It's chuffing easy. I bet that's a big thing in there as well. So loss of power is because of batteries. In the cold, of course, make sure you keep them warm. Otherwise, degradation and you don't get as long as you thought. Do not fly with partially charged batteries. It's quite simple. Number 5. This is one to watch at this time of year, and I'm not surprised on this one. Bird strikes. The birdie comes to get you. So, many people only assume bird strike is uncommon. Apparently, they're more common than we think. It's number 5 on Coverdrone. So, here's the thing. Seagulls will take you out. If it's nesting, it's coming up to nesting season, they're going to be more protective, same as all birds. Even pigeons are going to swamp you. Pigeons don't attack, but they swamp you. Seagulls, they've taken out an M200. An M200 weighs 6.5 kilos. If they're willing to take one of them out, your little Phantom, your Mavic, your Mini, whatever, is peanuts then. Seagulls will not care when it comes to protecting their young. Think, fly higher, don't look threatening to a nest. Very simple. Seagulls can be very nosy. However, the one bird you don't want to mess with, the top birdie, is the oyster catcher. Do not mess with them. Even flying within 100 meters of one, they're probably going to come and get you. And they're coming. You won't stop them. Yeah, oyster catcher is a little bugger, I'll tell you. So yeah, just think this time of year, don't fly low, keep high, stay away from nests where you can. It's not hard to do, it's quite simple, just think, okay? That's number 5. Number 4 is mechanical failure. Now, the mechanical failure bit could be a gimbal problem. I don't think it's going to be motor problems. I think it's more likely to be gimbals. So make sure you're using gimbal, your gimbal locks and everything. So yeah, and remember, DJI will tell you how often you should service your aircraft. So feel free to look at the DJI manual. I know you've got to read a manual. Holy crap! Read the manual, look it up, double check. It's very, very simple to do. Mechanical failures are number 4. I suspect they're mostly gimbal failures, not motors though. I could be wrong. They don't actually say, so we don't know. Number 3. Oh, here we go. This is down one place though from 2021. This is accidental damage. Now, accidental damage is defined as damage that occurs suddenly as a result of unexpected or non-deliberate action. In simpler terms, this usually means a one-off, unintentional incident that can cause harm to your property or someone else's. Fly higher. Shouldn't be hitting buildings or property. Yeah, I'd love to know a bit more on that kind of stuff. Number 2. This is an interesting one. And this accounted for nearly 1 in every 7 claims in 2022. So this is an interesting one. And typically this was caused by the drone losing GPS signal. That's what they say. So there are a few ways to mitigate the damage to your drone as a result of loss of data connection. Now they said GPS on their website. Now there's something I want you to all realise, that GPS does not mean your drone cannot fly. It does not mean that. It means you have to control it. It still flies. You push forward, the drone goes forward. You pull back, the drone goes backwards. You push left and right, it will go left and right. You make it go up and down, it'll go up and down. It does not need GPS for any of these things. The GPS is not needed. What is needed is you to not panic, to apply this up here and go, right, I've lost GPS, the drone still flies, I can fly it back to myself. Now, it might be that you've lost video, you've lost GPS. However, if you lose video, but that little radar symbol in the bottom left or bottom right of your app tells you which way the drone is facing, all you've got to do is rotate it so it's facing back towards home and fly it back. Dead simple. However, it has to know where home was, but it should indicate roughly where it is and was, and you'll know which way it's pointing because it tells you which way it's pointing because the compass is working. So just point it back to the right location, it'll come back. It won't have its GPS track, but it will know where it's heading because of the compass. And you can fly in without the video screen as such. However, how to really avoid all this is fly a visual line of sight, and then if GPS drops out, it's not a problem. They do say on the Coverdrone website, which makes me smile, is wait a few minutes for your takeoff. Well, you should be doing that anyway because you need GPS to lock in, you want it to be locked in solid, and make sure the GPS is locked in before flight. Now, that's great, but then they said this is caused by the drone losing GPS signal as number 2 the loss of data link. I do wonder if you should say loss of GPS should be number 2, not loss of data link. So make sure you return to home, you set up, make sure you're high enough to clear all the buildings. Don't do what I've heard before where people flying stuff like an Aspire 2, they lost signal, they didn't realise, well they did realise lost signal, but they didn't realise they had all the safety features switched on. So the drone came back unbeknownst to them and they were packing everything away really downhearted, thought an Inspire 2 had gone in the river. And lo and behold, this Inspire 2 was then heard and they were like, where's that coming from? And they could see it flying around a hotel because the vision sensors were helping it guide it round, and it came back and they were over the moon. And that was 2 good pilots, pilot and cameraman, had failed to set the return to home height for the area. So return to home height high enough. It's really good. But number 2, loss of data link. I think they might want to scratch that to loss of GPS. Now, what is the number 1? The number 1 reason that drone pilots put an insurance claim in. The number 1 reason is pilot error. So, and it continues to be the most common cause of drone related incidents, with nearly 50% of all claims in 2022 were being result of pilot error. Wow, 50% pilot error. Now, they are saying factors such as fatigue, poor communication, distraction and lack of teamwork can all increase the likelihood of an incident resulting from pilot error. Right, let's go there. Fatigue. If you're flying for a day, have planned breaks. I always did it. I mean, I used to fly for 8 hours a day in the countryside doing crops with an EB, and it was, you know, you've got to take little breaks, because if you don't take them, fatigue will set in. Next, we've got poor communication and distraction and lack of teamwork. If you're working with a team, be clear with them, okay, and make sure they are clear with you. No namby-pamby stuff. Distractions. So distractions, if you see a teammate on their phone on Facebook and you're meant to be working and helping you, feel free to shout abuse at them, but don't get too distracted, because you've got to concentrate on that drone. So shout abuse and keep your eye on the drone. I would, and I do. You wouldn't want to work with me if you did that to me. Lack of teamwork. Is your teamwork paying attention? Is your team helping you if you're the pilot? If not, don't be afraid to kick them up the arse. I know it's an imby-bimby world, but these things, stuff that, just kick them up the arse and tell them to get on with the job. You know, and there are numerous reasons. Pilot error, I think flying in the wrong conditions, the weather, shouldn't even be there, partly charged batteries. That's all human errors to me. While they've got it down as reasons, I think a lot of them are actually pilot errors. So, the weather one. You know what your DJI drone can fly, and it's on the website, it's in the manual. Partly flying batteries, don't do it. It's pilot error. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a top 10 to kind of give us a bit of a guide, but I don't get why most of it's just pilot error. It really is. And if you go on Facebook, you can see why it's pilot error. I got grief for being a bit, someone flew into the sun and then hit a tree. Yeah, the question is, why were you flying so long to hit a tree? So low to hit a tree. And two, why were you flying with the sun in such a way that it's going to blind you? You know where the sun is. It's that great big thing in the sky. We can't miss it. When I was flying model planes, you have the sun behind you at sites because that's where you want it. You don't want it in front. One model flying site though I go to, there's the sun is about here at about 11 o'clock and it's right in your eye line. It clears for the afternoon, so it's good. But when you take off and do a left-handed circuit, if you're having to take off that way and you've got to do a turn, what you have to do is you have to fly through the sun. And what that basically means is you take off, you do your turn, you got it through your turn, you level your wings up, you're now going to fly through the sun, which humans can't look at. Doesn't work. You go blind. Don't do it. Even with sunglasses on, don't do it. You look in the other side of the sun, your model aircraft appears, and then you just continue flying it, and then you stay away from the sun for the rest of the flight. Dead simple, not hard at all, and that's got no GPS. Pay attention to where the sun is. Don't let it distract you. Pay attention to the weather. Can your drone fly or not? It's simple stuff, all in your manuals. And I'm surprised at I'm not surprised at pilot error is number one, to be honest. I'm surprised by one or two of the others, but pilot error doesn't surprise me, I don't think, after reading a lot on the groups. And people ignore the basics. So come on guys, we can do a little bit better on this. Let's get rid of that pilot error one. Let's make that one disappear. Okay? And the weather one, that can go as well. You know, just use our noodles a bit more. That's all we've got to do. Let's fly safe and have a good time. We're not asking a lot, are we? Enjoy the summer, everyone. It's here, so have a good time. Enjoy, fly safe, and don't be one of those people that has to put an insurance claim in.